All right, welcome. I'm going to talk today about if you are a woman in leadership and you are still waiting for your promotion, I want to tell you why leadership isn't seeing you as that next decision maker. And I'm also going to give you three specific things you can do starting right now, starting today, and that will start making the move and start making that shift so that your organization, your leadership, your executive teams start seeing you as a leader that is highly promotable as well as highly capable and will get you invited to that seat at the table. All right, welcome. If this is the first time that you're joining me today, I am Kim Rijmakers, and I am a leadership strategist and executive advisor. And I have been working with women in leadership across different industries, as well as multinationals from startups to multinational corporations in their leadership, getting them to promoted, more salary, as well as helping them shift so that they can lead with a lot more ease versus a lot of hard work. All right, I want to talk today again about that invisible labor that we often do as women that does not get us promoted, does not get us into that next level role. So, one of the things that I have seen so often that so many women do, and I will be the first one that raises my hand for this as well, is thinking, I am needing to work hard. And if I didn't get that promotion this time and I just watched my counterpart get the role while I know that they're less capable or they haven't even achieved half as much as what I did, then it must be something I must not have worked hard enough. So then I would take on extra projects. I would go in, and maybe this is something you're doing too, right? You might be thinking like, oh, well, hold on a minute. Well, they must have gotten recognized because they were on that specific project. Well, let me go and try and get a seat at the table on more high visibility projects, which is only getting you more work, but isn't actually leading to any results. So when I talk about also invisible labor, this is talking about different things, especially as women, that we take on. So we take on oftentimes a lot of the emotional labor within our organizations and within our teams, right? Making sure that everyone is feeling good about their roles, things aren't slipping through their fingers, that your team isn't too stressed or overworked. Maybe it's even just the planning to make sure that you remember the anniversaries of specific individuals in your team, or even just the fact of your personal life that you have to remember the appointments, getting the gifts for the right parties, etc. You're also likely, as part of that invisible labor, really spending a lot of time cleaning up other people's work. Yesterday, during the accelerator coaching call, what was happening was that one of the leaders came to me and she's like, I'm getting all these reports and I need to give answers because this other individual, this other leader is doing this project, but the reports don't make any sense. Like, I need to spend hours trying to get these reports to making somewhat sense so that we can make decisions off of, but I don't have the time for this. And in that sense, we really had a conversation where I'm like, but whose responsibility is this? If this is your responsibility, it's part of your role, it's part of the projects that you've taken on, then yes, then we need to find a way to create the time to get that information. But not even that doesn't mean that necessarily that you have to be the one that does all the correcting. However, in the conversation, it's like, well, this is actually the responsibility of that project leader, of that leader who was the stakeholder in the project. And then there's a question of, well, can we just push that work back to where it belongs? So when I talk about invisible labor, it's all the things that you're doing that no one's paying attention to. This could even be as simple as, are you taking notes? Are you grabbing the coffee for the meeting? Because if you are, or even if you're managing, for example, the agenda of the meeting, even though you're not supposed to, these are tasks and this is work that you're doing that isn't contributing at all to you being seen as a leader, to you being seen as highly promotable. So if you find yourself constantly fixing up the mess either your team has made or your colleagues or even sometimes your leaders have made, you're running the meetings, you're mentoring all the junior staff, but you're still left out of that next leadership conversation, then I can tell you this, you working harder isn't the missing piece of the puzzle to get you promoted, to get you that salary raise, to get you into that room where the decisions are being made. So here's why this keeps you stuck. Because oftentimes, if you are seen like, oh, well, Kim's a great doer. Like she's able to get things fixed, and she like everything seems to run smoothly once we put her in charge. Great, fantastic. So I'm the cleaning person that comes behind and fixes it all up. But I'm never the person that is seen as, oh, they're capable of making the decisions. So in this sense, what I really want to give you here is that hard work that you have prided yourself on and has likely in the past been one of the key success factors to you growing in your career is now what is keeping you stuck and is actually working against you. Now, if this is something that you are finding yourself in, don't worry, you are not alone. This happens a lot. So here's why I want to give you some really key shifts that you can do right now without even having to overhaul your entire schedule, right? The first one, I want you to take a look at everything that is on your to-do list, in all the meetings that are on your calendar. And this can be done in like 10 or 15 minutes max, okay? Even shorter if you want. But you start to ask yourself, which tasks, which responsibilities are they really mine? Or should they belong with my team? Should they belong to a colleague? Maybe you need to push them back into your boss, into your manager. As another example, one of my clients yesterday was sharing, well, you know what? I got pulled into a new project that we're going to like put on a new event. She's like, but I don't even know why I was invited for this event. It doesn't, or this project. Why am I being put on the working group? And she reached out and asked her leader, well, what is it you're expecting of me to do? And his response was like, well, I don't actually know why you're on there. But let's see how it goes. So when that happens, what you're going to find yourself is getting more work without having any type of reward in that sense. And I want you to just think about this. I'm talking about all of this working hard, and this is, of course, being your success right now. If hard work really got women promoted, how many of us would already be running the boardroom by now? Probably a lot. So again, for this first piece today, this first action that you can take to start making that shift to being seen as as a leader, as a strategic leader, and as a promotable decision maker, audit your calendar. So start looking at what are the tasks that are mine? What can I redirect? What can I delegate? What do I need to say no to? And start clearing up the schedule. Number 2, as women, and research has shown this, our networks are not as strong as many of our male colleagues. Now, this is a really simple one action you can take. Reach out to one leader that you admire in your organization or even in your industry, if it's external to your organization, and ask, would you be open to having a 50-minute conversation about how you navigated your last promotion, as an example? Or even keep it even more open-ended. Would you be open to having a conversation and exploring whether you would be open to mentoring me? Having mentors and champions and advocates in your corner and across the organization, across your industry, can be an absolute game changer when it comes to being more promotable, being seen as that strategic leader, being invited into the decision-making meetings. One of my clients had exactly this is when we talked about her results, and she was in a new role, and within 6 months of being in that new role within a new organization, right? So everything was new at this point in time. She actually was promoted 2 levels above to becoming the head of division. Now, one of those key success factors, beyond things like ensuring that the responsibilities that weren't hers were with the right people, was also having very strong advocates who had tipped her on this role is coming up, but had also been the one that was talking about her when my client wasn't even in the room. So this is a really quick, simple action that you could already take right now is spend 5 minutes and think, which leader in the organization, and this one specifically, please don't think it needs to be another woman leader, because if you can reach out to another male leader, that is also fantastic. You're tapping into more of their network. So having said that, I want you to then take those 5 minutes, identify one, maybe two, and send them a quick message asking if they're open to mentoring you, or if they're open to having a conversation about how they navigated their promotion and their career path. The third action that you can take is I want you to take 10 minutes and just document, write down 3 different results that your work has your work has resulted in. What achievements has your work resulted in this past quarter, even this past month, or even shorter, this past week. And I want you to also take those results and not just one of the things I found with a lot of my clients as they start talking about, well, I got these and these tasks done. I did this report. I completed this action. I had this and this many client calls, or we did bring in this many sales, and this is what the team was doing. That's great. If you want to keep talking in that level of describing the tasks that you are completing, then don't be surprised when you continue to be seen as a doer, because that's exactly what you're training everybody else around you, because you are communicating like a doer, like a fixer. Like, hey, you know what? I checked the boxes on my to-do list. Here you go. When your organization's leadership, the executive teams, the management teams are looking at their leaders and their managers, they want to see the individuals that can tie actions to results to strategy. So when you take those 10 minutes and start at least coming up with at least 3, I know you have at least 3 results or achievements that you've had in the last week, month, quarter. I want you to really consciously take a look at them and tie them to business strategy and business, the strategic aims of the business. What are the KPIs that the business is running on? What are the KPIs that your boss and his boss or her boss are really getting evaluated on? Can you tie exactly what you are doing up into higher level strategy? Because once you start to do that, that is going to position you in such a way that makes you be seen as a strategic leader, as a leader with strategic vision, as a leader who can connect the dots and actually look into the future as to what is the impact that is happening. And that is how you start to make the shifts into becoming a more of a strategic partner and becoming that strategic leader within your organization. So I really want to drive this home that hard work that has been successful probably up until now, and it isn't working for you anymore. Hey, you're still trying to prove your value by the hours that you're putting in. And that's not what makes you promotable. That is not what is going to drive you into a better salary. If you find yourself in the situation like, well, Kim, like I've got the responsibilities, like probably of the next level of leadership, but like you're doing a $150K job, but you're only getting paid $90K a year. Hey, guess what? We have some work to do, because then you're still positioning yourself in terms of your value is your hours versus the value that you bring is your impact. Now, I want to invite you, because I have got only 5 spots open inside my LeadHERship Accelerator, which is a minimum 6-month group program, which is really making a difference in so many women leaders' careers and in their personal lives as well. And they are shifting from being that go-to problem solver to being the one that leadership sees as the next director, as the next VP. So if you are ready to shift into that and you want to start being seen as that strategic decision maker, as that strategic leader in the next 30 to 60 days, I want you to DM me strategic because I've only got 5 spots open. So kind of 5 spots. That's it. And I want you to DM me strategic so that we can have a conversation whether that is going to be a great fit for you as well. Especially if you are ready again to stop working even harder in the hopes that someone is going to see that what you're capable of. And I can give you inside the accelerator the proven strategies that work. Like I said, one of my clients went from starting a new role in a new company to within 6 months becoming the head of division, which was a 2-step leadership jump. Now, if that is possible for her, I know the same can be possible for you. Love to hear from you again.